It's been a little while since we've had Norwest on the podcast, but I'm delighted to say that they are back. I'm joined by Trent and Katie once again from the high-flying side from the Hills Association. It's fantastic to have you guys back. I want to start with the freshest thing in your mind, an incredible 4-3 win over Kellyville. First and foremost, congratulations. That's a huge result. It's 3 wins on the bounce for you guys, and you're in some of the best form in the comp from the last 3 and 5 games, depending on how you look at dribble. So again, congratulations. Take me through that game. I want to know who scored the first goal, the second, all the way through to the 7th. When did your winner come about? Hit me chronologically. Go.
All right, I'll start. It was a great game, and thanks, Mark, for the well wishes. It was a really good game. We dominated the early part of the game. We scored quite early in the match. We scored, I believe, the first, second, and maybe the third goal. I'm just trying to think. We went into the halftime at 3-1, and I think we scored maybe the first 3 goals. A little unusual. We had a new goal scorer in our team. One of our midfielders, Ruth, happened to score 2. So Emma scored the first goal for us. Then Ruth came in from sort of a little bit further out from out of the penalty area and managed to score 2 crackers, which put us in a really commanding position. A little bit disappointing in the fact that we probably should have gone into the half time about 8-0 up. We missed that many chances. It wasn't funny and really dominated the first half. So, yeah, really good start to the game.
Katie, sorry, go on, please. Sorry.
No, sorry, I was just going to say, came out in the second half, and as we expected, Kellyville came out quite strong and determined to get themselves back in the game. We had a bit of a patch in the middle of the second half where we went to sleep a little bit, allowed them to come back in a penalty that was a little contentious, but the match official is always correct. And then a goal that again our defence went to sleep a little bit, and they managed to penetrate and score and tie it up at 3-3. And then we were really fortunate to have our golden boot Erica score the winning goal with about 4 minutes to go.
Wow, fantastic! That's amazing. Wow, 4 minutes to go. So. Katie, I can see you sort of smiling and nodding along to yourself. So when you get to 4 minutes to go and you score a winner in a crazy game against a local Hills team as well, what was the reaction like?
I think it was. I think everyone was pretty happy. It got a bit scary there in the second half. We were all pretty getting heated in the game and stuff like that because we all really wanted to win. But I think we came back. There was a bit of time where, like Trent's right, we kind of fell asleep. And we weren't gelling for a little bit of that second half. But then I think we calmed down, came back together and just put it together, and we scored a goal. So it was worth it.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm noticing that even including Holroyd, despite how sort of far ahead they're starting to pull now, that teams are struggling to dominate for the entire 90 minutes of the game. Whether it's a first half that they really dominate or a second half where they make a comeback, especially in the last couple of weeks, there have been some crazy momentum shifts in games, particularly after the sort of the halftime break. So interesting to see that, and it's meaning that we're having some wickedly entertaining games. Now, while we're still speaking about the past, I just want to touch on the very last match of the round that you guys participated in. That was the 2-0 loss to Park Lee. Now, just a sort of as a refresher to those who are watching along, and to those who did view that stream, they scored from a sort of quick counter-attack and then a set piece inside the opening 15 minutes or so. And that would be how the game would see through to the 90th minutes. I remember being on the podcast and having watched a little bit back ahead of this. We spoke about you finally sort of getting into form and going into that game being in form, and you were looking to continue that on. Similar situation now with 3 wins on the bounce. I think you had 2 wins on the bounce going into that one. So sort of a deja vu in a way, but that game, just to quickly touch on it, didn't quite go the way you wanted it to, Trent.
No, look, absolutely not. I think we were a little unlucky in that game. We came into the game, as you said, with a good bit of momentum behind us, and confidence was quite high. Unfortunately, we had our keeper out injured on that particular match, and you don't see errors at this level typically where you've got players picking up the ball outside the penalty area. But the counter attack, look, again, was fantastic, and the free kick was phenomenal. I mean, you can't take that away from them. But I think we've certainly learned a lot since those games, and expect to be a lot more competitive in the when we face them again in the second half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll always say this, no matter what sort of media I'm sort of appear on, I will always say that the goalkeeper is the hardest position in any sport out there, not just the hardest position in football or soccer. So to lose your goalkeeper at this level is incredibly difficult to deal with. So you did quite well considering all those facts. Now let's finally stop looking at the past. Let's look ahead now. Again, you have found your stride again. I don't want to jinx it, sort of like it might have been hinting towards in that last question, but really the difference between you and the two teams above you in Parkley and Kellyville in sort of an equal second is third and fourth is goal difference. Now you guys seem to be really high scoring, but also tend to concede a couple as well, as you can tell by that crazy 7-goal game just on Sunday. But that's really, that top four has been broken into now. It is wide open, and the sort of proverbial top three that we had, a couple of weeks ago, is cracked wide open. Now, I want to ask you, Katie, I'll go straight to you. Considering that you're on equal points, the two teams the two teams, is that top four now completely in your hands if you want to take it and grasp it and finish up there?
Yeah, I think if we focus enough, we can definitely stay there and progress if we would love to, obviously. And I think that's definitely in our heads, that we want to move forward and continue winning games if we can. And as well, trying not to concede is something that I think we need to focus on as well. But yeah, I think I'm really excited about it. It's good to see that we've moved up, and getting a few games under our belt, some wins has really, I guess, improved a bit of momentum and some just energy in the team. So I think the next few games should be really interesting.
Talk to me about just that last phrase there, Trent, sort of energy in the team. Is that a tangible thing that you're noticing in the last 2-3 weeks or so, that the mood is lifting and sort of spirits are a bit high, maybe willingness to train in the freezing cold is becoming a bit easier?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think like a lot of the teams in the competition, and you mentioned before about how close a lot of these games are coming. Certainly we've all gelled. We brought a number of girls that came in new to the squad this year, and I think that's been a massive plus for us in getting those girls really well connected. We've got a fantastic culture. The girls absolutely love playing in the team. But yeah, when you have that little bit of success, that bit of momentum that we've had now 3 games in, certainly it makes the cold nights a bit easier, and it makes turning up, girls are prepared to strap up an injury and come out in the cold and take their chances, and everyone enjoys a win and singing the team song after the game.
Absolutely, I can imagine. Now, Holroyd, let's focus in on them specifically for the last couple of moments of the interview. Last time you played against them, it was a pretty resounding 4-0 loss, but I think you've come a long way since then. The problem is, so have they. Now they've won against both Mariong and Parkley in matches of the round live streams already, and very recently in that latter one as well. You're coming into another game against them now for the second half of the draw. I want to know, across the 2 live stream games and the 4-0 loss as well, what tactically, and again, what you're willing to reveal, people are pretty finicky about what they reveal on here, but what are you willing to talk about sort of tactically, or perhaps how they sort of operate that you've learnt about them from your experiences, and how might that apply to Sunday?
Yeah, look, Mark, we're fairly much an open book. We're not here to keep secrets. At the end of the day, what we do on the pitch is important. Look, I think their dominance. Look, they're a fantastic side. They're very physical. They're very strong. Technically, they're quite good as well. But like every team in the competition, they've got some opportunities to penetrate them and to get the results. I think their dominance hasn't been as obvious the last couple of rounds. I think from memory they had a 1-0 win or a very small win the last couple of games, and against teams that they sort of dominated in the earlier part of the season. So we're taking that, as a positive. As I said, we've certainly got some momentum and some confidence coming into this game. Technically, I think we're a lot stronger than we were in the first round. I mean, when we played them the first time, we had a number of borrowed players, and again, I'm not making excuses because I know every team's in the same boat, but we've got our full side, barring sort of one or two at the moment. We're a lot better connected, and we're not going to go into this match, overly confident. We're certainly not going to go into it underestimating how well this team's playing and how well they're doing. But we'd love to be the first team to have taken all 3 points off them this year, and that's certainly our focus on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. From what I've had the privilege of observing, and also from their goal of the week entry that got sent to my inbox yesterday morning, set pieces is something that has come to their aid quite a lot. I remember doing my commentating notes, and I mentioned this when I did cover them that one time against Parklea, that they had they had one player with 7 assists, or 9 assists, and 7 of them were from corners. So they have a method of scoring, I guess you could say, by hook or by crook if it comes to the sort of nitty gritty of grinding out results. So, of course, that is something that you'll be able to observe specifically from the live stream games. With the one that was here was a pretty good angle of set pieces as well. So, now, I know you would pick that up. So, going into this one, as I've sort of very explicitly said, I'm very respectful of your good form as an entertaining, high-scoring team. I would love to be able to watch you guys in person. I haven't had that privilege just yet. But I also do respect the dominance and what we've seen from Holroyd so far. So I just want to sort of hear from your perspective. You did hint on it towards the end of your last answer. Is this about, and the word I have written down is survival, but there's nothing wrong with coming through when you're not in knockout football. There is this chance of, can we just pick up a point, or is it maybe a feeling of, can we just get through this game? Is that sort of thought creeping in at all? Or is it, we are here to, as you said sort of before, here to take 3 points off them?
Yeah, look, we're definitely going into this game on Sunday to win. We're not here to take 1 point or to go home with our tail between our legs. We're going in there into this game to win it. And look, I'm a bit of a firm believer, if you can't beat this team, well, you're playing for second. So at the end of the day, no team's beaten them yet. They've had a draw. They've got some weaknesses. We'll be looking to try and take advantage of those. I think one of our Achilles heels, which probably leads into your last comment. We've conceded a lot of goals through set pieces in our sort of back third. So, we're really focused on that at the moment, about defending very physically and strong, and making sure, we're strong in that sort of that part of the park, but making sure that we're not giving away free kicks and conceding goals, cheaply through that sort of area. But no, look, we're going into this game, with a real determination to be the first team to take the full 3 points, away from them. And if we can do that, that's great. If we can't, well, we focus on next week in making sure that we secure our position in fourth spot, in the top 4, I should say, not fourth spot, and making sure that we're there to, play them in the grand final.
Yeah, good save at the end there as well. I like that thinking. And Katie, just to wrap it up as well, if you could sort of speak on behalf of the playing staff, what's the feeling like going into this? I know I've sort of tried to play it up a little bit, but is there a sense of excitement going into this one? Certainly.
I think there is. I think it'll be good, considering like our first game against them feels like so long ago now. So, and like we've been talking about earlier, we've come so far since then. So it's going to be really interesting, and I think it'll be really good to see how we play as a team against them. So yeah, I'm excited. I know the girls are keen to get out there and just do what we can do and do our best. So
the internet entirely cut out just then. I'm going to have to say all of that again. That's why I have my phone in my hand. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's all right. I was just saying that, yeah, it's been quite some time. Well, it feels like it's been some time since we played them first. So it'll be interesting to see how we go. And I think we've really grown as a squad since that first game. So, really excited. I know the girls are keen to play on Sunday and just see what we can do. And do what we can out there. So.
Trent and Katie are always fantastically well spoken when they come on the podcast. It's always a pleasure to have them. I can't wait to actually have the opportunity soon to come and watch. I think I'm free this Sunday, so I might actually come and watch in person. Thank you very much for being on the podcast. Just generally, some really good answers, and I like the belief that's building in this squad. It's quite infectious, and I'm a big fan of it. But yeah, just generally, thanks for being on the podcast.
Good on you. Thanks very much for your time, Mark.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for this week's episode of the Blacktown Football Hour podcast, episode 17 of season 2. Can you believe that? 17 thumbnails, 17 years waiting for these to upload in Ultra HD, 17 scripts, 150 interviews. What do you reckon about that in the last 2 years? So many fun characters that have been found and interesting stories that we've picked up here and there, stories that are still being written, of course, this season. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. Thanks again to Jason Notley for your incredible work, and congratulations on being the Volunteer of the Week winner. Hit like if you like volunteers. Hit like if you like football. Hit the like button because I asked you nicely. Subscribe while you're there too. And until I see you next time, let's cue the outro music.